Conservatives are not happy with the Pope. This is according to a new Gallup survey out today. Only about 45% of conservatives have a positive opinion of Pope Francis. Now let's contrast that with last year, when 72% of conservatives viewed him much more favorably. Why? Well, it may have to do with his views on climate change, the economy, and, of course, other things. Now, in his trip to South America, he said this, quote, "Putting bread on the table, putting a roof over the heads of one's children, giving them health and an education, these are essential for human dignity." Human dignity? Well, conservatives hate the idea of human dignity. No. They're like, how dare you not advocate for more tax breaks for corporations and the rich? How dare you? Why aren't you for endless profit of the corporate industry, of the corporate sector? Poor people, who gives a fuck about poor people? We don't care about them. They're cheap labor. Nobody cares. All right. Now, they also hate his environment, right? His environmental ideas from his encyclical delivered last month. Now, that encyclical called climate change one of the principal challenges facing humanity in our day. Now, Jeb Bush, interestingly enough, after this, was kind of pissed. And he said, "I don't get economic policy from my bishops or my cardinal or my pope." But wait, Jeb, I thought your faith was part of who you are and that you can't keep that separate from your policy. You happened to say back in 2009, as a public leader, one's faith should guide you. In the United States, many people think you need to keep your faith, put it in a security box. But if you're an elected official, put it in a safety deposit box until you finish your service as a public servant, and then you can go and get it back. I never felt that that was appropriate. Interesting. Now, he also told the Florida Catholic newspaper shortly after leaving office, "You hear people say, I don't want to impose my faith. Well, it's not an imposition of faith. It's who you are." So he's rather wrapped up in his faith, and yet at the same time, when his faith says something unpopular, it turns out he's not in favor. Interesting. Now, unless, of course, it's about fighting about climate change or fighting against predatory crony capitalism or feeding the poor, then, of course, Jeb Bush is going to say, "Fuck my faith, I go where the money is." Follow the money. Now, for me as an atheist, I disagree with Francis on some things, obviously, like abortion, contraception, same-sex marriage. However, there are things I do agree with him on, things like the economy and things on and things like the environment. And I also find it funny how much the Pope, who is, by the way, the Pope's not an American citizen. He's not an American politician. He's not even American. He has so much political impact. He's got so much influence on our politicians, or at least he had when he was discriminating against gay people or fighting against reproductive rights. Now, suddenly, when he actually says things that are helpful for the poor and the environment, well, that's when he has no political impact. Strange. Especially when he's actually calling for the kind of economic justice that Jesus had called for. Interesting how that works. Now, as I said, when the Pope says things they like about different sorts of policies, they absolutely fucking love it. And then they try to implement it here. But when he says something that they don't like, they say, "Hey, why are you trying to move into the realm of politics where you don't belong?" Well, everything's political. Everything's a political issue. That includes things like I said, stances on pro-life versus pro-choice, reproductive rights, economic justice. All of that is political. But no, if you move into things that I don't like, I don't want you to talk about, and I don't want you to advocate for, I'm going to charge you with moving into politics where you don't belong. Smells like hypocrisy to me.